Yeah, yeah. Yo, yo. Peace and riches, blessings. Welcome back to the Burnell Washburn podcast. Sending you all my love, all my good vibes. It's a beautiful day to be alive. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for investing some time in your mindset and your well-being. Yes, Lord. I got a beautiful episode in store for you today. We're going to talk about quantum possibilities and how I've managed to manifest some extraordinary things that seemed pretty far-fetched, seemed a little out of reach, looking at your current circumstances, and you want to, we all got big dreams. There's just so many amazing things that we can be, do, and have, and we're all working with the infinite power that creates universes, We're all this one. There's no separation between us and the divine consciousness that literally created this whole universe and multiverses and planets and solar systems. And it's like, if the same consciousness that lives inside of me can create a motherfucking universe, then I should be able to manifest, a little dream vacation here and there, a little performing with my heroes and idols, a little going on tour with people I look up to, some of those kind of things. Like, I'm not asking for much. It's not, it's not out of reach. So I wanted to make this episode to teach you a cool technique and inspire you to go create some magical, wonderful dreams in your life. So before we get started fully, I want to say huge thank you from the bottom of my heart to all my wonderful patrons, everyone that's been supporting this podcast and my YouTube channel and my music and everything via Patreon. Some of you guys are throwing $5, $10, $20 a month, and some of you guys have been sending me random other gifts, and it's just, I feel so grateful to be connected to you beautiful divine beings. Like, wow. I'm building up a good soul tribe here, and I got some good people in my life, and you guys are helping this whole thing spin around. There's a lot of expenses involved in creating podcasts, and from the equipment that I'm using, this interface, this mic, this laptop. Actually, this interface is Teaser's interface. So Teaser, if you're listening, thank you. You're the man. I love you, brother. Not only have you been supporting on Patreon, but literally using your equipment to make this episode. So thank you, brother. Best homie in the world. But all of you guys that are, throwing money on the Patreon, it helps me pay for my internet. It helps me pay for the website. It helps me pay for the podcast hosting. And I don't even need to pay for advertising because you guys are spreading the word of mouth. And that's the best advertising any business. Like, I know some pretty successful businesses that have never ran ads or paid for. And advertising is cool. I love advertising, and paid ads can be awesome, but there's something special when people are just spreading the word because they're getting value from it. So even if you're not supporting on the Patreon, but you want to help spread this message, I love it when you leave comments, when you hit the like buttons, when you share it, when you text the link to your homies. Because if you're getting value from it, then people in your life will also get value from it. And when you message me, like a DM on Instagram saying, yo, brother, I love today's podcast episode. I'm going to go start meditating day 1 today. Or, yo, brother, today's my 3rd day without drinking soda because I heard you talking about that on your podcast. And just want to say thank you for spreading the love, or whatever you guys say, stuff like that. I screenshot that. I share it on my stories, and then people are like, yo, where can I listen to your podcast? Because obviously these other people are getting value from it, so I want to get value from it too. And, it's not about like how dope I am, or it's not even about me. It's like I'm just channeling this wisdom from my own experience, from my mentors, from source energy, from my angels and guides. And I'm, speaking from the heart, trying to uplift, inspire, heal, help, and just serve and provide value I had some experiences with the Ouija board, which is a whole nother episode. I think I've talked a little bit about it. I don't really recommend playing around with Ouija boards, but I had some really profound experiences with Ouija boards. And I was asking this spirit who was telling us all sorts of stuff that ended up being true. And certain things I can't prove, but certain things I could totally prove that because it was like, it said that such and such is going to happen next week, and then it did happen, and you're like, whoa, okay. But one of the things the spirit told me, her name was Amy. Shout out to Amy. She was like, yeah, I was asking her about a past life, and she's like, in a past life, you were a scribe. And I didn't really know what a scribe was, but she's basically like, you used language, you used your words to help kind of advance diplomacy, through a lot of, like, you basically helped stop certain wars and battles and beefs and things going on in the world through your language because you had a gift with words. And I was like, damn, no wonder I've always like been inspired towards using language ever since I was a little kid. My favorite subjects in school, starting as early as elementary, were English and reading. I just loved them. And then I got really into poetry, really into music. Obviously, I'm a lyricist. I have a podcast. I have a YouTube channel. I just like talking, and it's not just because I like hearing my own voice. I don't even necessarily, I'm not like in love with my voice, but I'm in love with the idea that that they hold power. The pen is mightier than the sword. So anytime I can use my language to make someone else's life better, it's just a blessing. And I feel like it's my calling, and it's part of my calling. And that's what I'm doing here, living out my mission. So I appreciate you guys listening to these words. And today I want to share some valuable ideas with you that are absolutely going to change your life because they've changed mine. And I've shared this with some of my coaching clients. They've put it into practice, and it's mind-blowing what they've accomplished or achieved with it too. So last but not least, before we fully dive in, we kind of dove in a little bit, but now we're gonna fully dive in here in a second. Just want to say shout out to our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Rasa. It's an adaptogenic herb beverage, coffee alternative, awesome drink that is just made up of a bunch of different herbs and mushrooms. And I've been drinking it to check my relationship with caffeine, to nourish and balance my adrenals, I'm still drinking a little bit of cold brew, but I'm drinking a lot less. Like I have like a fourth of a mug now. And this Rasa just gives me way more beautiful, sustainable energy. Without the crash, without the jitters, without the anxiety, without all that stuff, you get like just nourished and loved on by these beautiful herbs. It's got all sorts of adaptogens. Like it's got like 4 or 5 different types of mushrooms. It's a beautiful thing. So you can check out wearerasa.com. That's WEARERASA.com. We are Rasa. WEARERASA.com. Use promo code Burnell, BURNELL, to save 15% off of your order. You can keep using that code every month if you reorder. And everyone that I've put onto Rasa so far has just been telling me they love it. Like after the first 12 days, you just feel so balanced and recharged. And some people are using it to get off caffeine completely. Other people are just using it to feel good and kind of just check their relationship. And it's just nice to have a powerful morning concoction that's just nourishing you. And you can drink it when you're fasting. I practice intermittent fasting almost every day. So it's just a beautiful thing. You can check out wearerasa.com, use promo code Burnell, and you're going to love it. Your body's going to thank you. I'll put the link to that in the description, in the show notes too, so you can check that out. And they got a few different flavors and varieties, and yeah, it's just awesome stuff. So check out wearerasa.com, and let me know how you're liking it. Everyone else that I've put onto it just been like, yo, thank you so much for showing me this. I feel amazing. And I've definitely been feeling just more energized and more vibrant and less. Coffee's great, don't get me wrong, but especially if you're drinking like high quality organic fair trade cold brew with alkaline water and all that like I do. But still, caffeine's is a hell of a drug, and too much of that can really overload your adrenal glands and overload your whole endocrine system and just kind of fuck you up. So Rasa can help repair some of that damage. All right, so today I want to talk about this journaling practice that I've been doing recently that's been really remarkable. And I've talked about, I think I have an episode about like magic manifestation journals, so this is going to be kind of similar to that episode if you liked that one. But it's a slightly updated technique. So I call it the Quantum Possibilities Journal or the Quantum Possibilities Notebook. And it's just pure magic. Puts you on a beautiful frequency, allows you to just really feel the emotions and live from possibility rather than living from circumstance. When you live from circumstance, then your circumstances just can, all they do is repeat. So you got to look at your daily habits and ask, am I playing from circumstance or am I playing from possibility? When you're setting goals or things you want to manifest, are you writing those down based on circumstance, based on how things are and how they have been? Or are you writing down things and thinking of things based on like what could be? Because there's infinite possibilities. So this Quantum Possibilities Notebook, I recommend getting a nice fresh new notebook if you can, or a nice journal of some sort, the higher quality. Like get something that feels good to you. If you feel good using like a little 25-cent notebook from the dollar store or whatever, that's fine. Do that too. If you want to get if you want to go on Amazon and spend 10 or 15 bucks on a nice like hardbound high quality journal that just like feels good and feels high vibe to you, then do that. Do whatever feels good, something that you enjoy writing in. Something that feels magical and powerful and that you really like it. You're excited to write in it. You're excited to like, you want to almost have it on display in your house because it just, my journals are like some of my most prized possessions and I've been saving a lot of them. So if you get something that's like a little more hardbound and nicer, you're probably going to save it for more years and it's fun to look back on. And I was thinking about it like I'm not attached to any of my possessions. If my house was burning down, like there's really nothing I would probably care about saving. But like randomly, like some of my journals might be like, if I were to grab anything, I might grab my journals because I don't know, I just love them. But anyway, get a nice journal that you enjoy writing in. Get a nice pen, like your pen is your magic wand, yo. And if it feels higher vibration and just more important to you to buy a nice pen, then do that. But what you're going to do is you're going to get a journal. You're going to title it your Quantum Possibilities Journal or your Quantum Possibilities Notebook. And then what I do every morning is I write my gratitude and my affirmations. I do like a whole page of affirmations to help reprogram my subconscious mind. And all my affirmations, by the way, like pretty much they become my reality. And it takes a while. It's not like you just write them a few times. I'm talking every day for multiple years. And when you've written something on a paper every single day for a very long period of time, and it's different lengths of time depending on what else you got going on in your life and what you're trying to call in or what you're trying to affirm, but certain things, it's just hard to behave incongruently with how you perceive yourself. And if I'm writing, like for example, this is just one of hundreds of affirmations that have become my reality. I started writing, I am impeccable with my word. And that's an affirmation that I took from the book, The 4 Agreements, which is one of my favorite books. It's one of the first self-development, like spiritual self-help type books that I ever read. And it's one of those books that I keep going back and rereading because you can never, it's hard to, perfect these habits. But if you just get better and better and you have the intention of embodying these principles, then your life just gets better and better. So I realized I wasn't being as impeccable with my word as I wanted to be. So I started writing down every day, I am impeccable with my word, as one of my affirmations. And it's it's already been showing up in beautiful ways in my life. Every time I go to like say I'm going to do something and then I think about not doing it, I go, fuck, I'm impeccable with my word. Okay, I got to do that. And even if I don't really want to do the thing, I do it just because I'm trying to like really solidify the habit of being impeccable with my word. So just the other day, I got invited to a Halloween party with like my cousins and stuff. And I had a stressful day and I didn't really feel like going. But since I told him I was going and I told my daughter we were going, I went and I felt really good about going. And I said, even if I don't enjoy this, I'm going to enjoy the fact that I was impeccable with my word. I said I was going to do it, and so I did it. And, you know, that's why it's important to like be careful what you say you're going to do. You know what I mean? The more I've been really subconsciously wiring in this belief that I'm impeccable with my word, the more careful I am to give someone my word about something. I just got invited to this like meditation thing the other day, and I didn't know for sure if I could be there, and I didn't want to not be impeccable with my word, so I was like, that sounds really fun. I would love to be there. I can't give you my word just yet, but I will let you know. And that felt way more aligned and in integrity, because it's like if I would have said, yeah, dude, I'll be there for sure, just because I want to like people please or because it sounds fun in the moment, then I could get myself into a sticky situation where, okay, now I have to for sure go because I said I was going to be there, or I have to not be impeccable with my word and hurt my own identity. Because your identity is everything. Who you perceive yourself to be is who you're going to show up as, and you're not going to consistently behave in ways that are inconsistent with how you view yourself. So as I've been writing this affirmation, I've been more careful about what I give my word to because I want to be impeccable with it. And I've just been more on point. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And I'm not perfect at it. It's just something I'm working on. And I'd like to be as close to perfect at it as perfect at it as I can. That was like a weird tongue twister for some reason. But anyway, that was a side note. So my affirmations come true based on repetition and actually acting on it. It's not like I just write like, I don't know, like some people are right, like an affirmation, they're like, I am a multi-millionaire, but then they're feeling the emotions of being broke all day, and it's like that affirmation is going to take so damn long to wire in your nervous system that it's almost not even worth it, you know what I mean? It's like trying to take a snow shovel to an iceberg, you know what I mean? It's like, you can only shovel so much, but there's still so much underneath the surface that's working, so... but they do work. Affirmations do work. They just take consistent effort. They take a long time to wire in, and then you have to back it up with your behavior. If you don't back it up with your behavior, then your affirmations are mute. And, you know, like for me, I'm careful about what I write down in my affirmations journal because it's like I don't want to say something and then act the opposite way and then just basically tell my mind that like, oh yeah, all these affirmations are bullshit. But if I write the affirmation and then I act on it and then I write the affirmation again the next day and I act on it again and I do that every day for a long enough period of time, then it becomes really embedded and wired and becomes my new reality. Especially when I listen to my affirmation recordings as I'm like sleeping and, you know, because your subconscious mind can still hear sound when you're asleep. And a lot of times there's less resistance when you're listening to it in that kind of way. So anyway, I write my affirmations, I write my gratitude journal, I write like a whole entire page of gratitude, and it's not about how many things you write or whatever, it's about actually feeling the emotion of really appreciating these things that you're writing down. Really embodying the emotions. So I write my gratitude, then I write my affirmations, I write down the gratitude, and then the next 2 pages so I do a total of like 4 journal pages every day, pretty much like affirmations, gratitude, and then my quantum possibilities. So with my quantum possibilities, I write down quantum possibilities at the top of the page. And then I write down on one side, I write down things that are going well. And I just write down a whole list of things in my life that are going well, things that I appreciate. I got clean water. I got fresh air to breathe. I have a cozy, safe place to live. I have a car to drive. I have food in my cabinets. I have rasa to drink right now. I just got booked on that show. I got clean clothes to wear. I got fresh bed sheets. I had good dreams last night. I just write down anything that I can think of, usually, a list of like 10 to 20 things that are just going well in my life. So I'm focusing on the emotion of like, I'm appreciating all the things that are going right, because we are all programmed and wired from an evolutionary standpoint to be more concerned, to pay more attention to things that are not going well. Because, hey, if things are going well, then your survival mechanism doesn't need to worry about them. But if something's not going well, your survival mind is going to kick in and put all of its attention on that so it can survive. Because like the brain, nervous system, subconscious is designed for survival. It's not designed for happiness. So like think about like if there's back in the day, evolutionary standpoint, if there's a saber-toothed tiger chasing you, you have to put all your attention on that so you can run, so you can hide, so you can fight it, so you can do whatever to survive. So we're programmed on like a deep genetic level to focus on things that could harm us. And that's the whole job of the ego. That's the whole job of the nervous system, is just be like, anything that could hurt us or harm us or, take our quality of life down, we need to hyper focus on that so we can mitigate any possible stress or pain. And we'll do more to avoid pain than we will to gain pleasure. So since we know that that's how we're programmed, we have to consciously kind of reprogram and deprogram and go against that and, make friends with that program and realize that's just the program playing out, doing its job to keep us alive. And hey, thank you, brain. Thank you, body. I appreciate you protecting me. I appreciate you looking out for anything that might hurt me. But the problem is, it's like we're not really in a life or death survival situation most of the time. These days, even if you're homeless, and especially if you live in the United States, like I do, I'm just blessed to live in this country, and like the world is basically never gonna let me go hungry. If I was out on the streets with nothing, people would give me money and feed me, and I'd end up with like someone would give me a jacket and a blanket. Like I'd end up being warm, and my basic needs would be taken care of, so I don't need to worry about actual survival. But we're also programmed to need to be accepted and loved, because that's part of survival. Back in the day when we were living as tribes, if your tribe didn't accept you, if they banished you from the tribe or the village, your chances of survival went way down. So that's where our need to be liked and loved and appreciated and all that stuff comes from. So we get scared of other people's opinions. Our nervous system basically goes into fight or flight when someone makes a comment online. You know what I mean? Our actual survival is not in jeopardy at all, but our nervous system thinks it is. So writing down this first page of the Quantum Possibilities is really helpful to program your mind to start focusing on things that are going well, rather than all the things like, oh shit, that's coming up, and this person said that, and like all these crazy problems that our mind wants to focus on because it's worried about something going wrong and it wants to make sure it can protect us. We reprogram it to look at all these things, all these blessings. Look at all these things that we have to be grateful for. Look at all these things that are actually going really well. And, if you're like me, my mind will easily focus on all that stuff based on like one little circumstance, and then it'll start thinking my life's going to shit and being all worried and stressed out. And then if I really think about the span of the last 6 months or the last year, I'm like, whoa, look at all this progress I'm making. Look at all these beautiful blessings. Look at all these good times I've had. Look at all these things that are happening that are going well in my life. So doing this every morning is a powerful way to start to reprogram that whole paradigm of like scarcity and fear into abundance and blessings. And, look, I'm guided, I'm protected, I'm supported, I'm appreciated, I'm loved. I got a place to live, I got clothes to wear, I got food to eat, I got good friends, I got fans, I got all this stuff that's going well in my life. I got clean clothes right now. I'm on a winning streak. I'm on a winning streak. Yes. Take a second to just feel that beautiful energy of things that are going well. And then once you're in a state, you're kind of got yourself out of the fight or flight and you're in a state of appreciation and focus on the goodness. Then you write down the next page of quantum possibilities, and this is where the real magic comes in. So you got out of fight or flight, you're in a good state. You switched off the parasympathetic nervous system, or the sympathetic nervous system, and you're now in the parasympathetic nervous system. I always get those two backwards. But you're basically you're out of fight or flight into a chill, loving, creative, calm state. And then you write down quantum possibilities. So you write down one page things that are going well, and then this next page things that could go well. And then you just brainstorm a whole list of possibilities of things that could go right, you know? I could receive a random check in the mail. I could meet my soulmate today. I could record the best podcast of my life. I could write a hit song. I could create content that goes viral. I could receive some huge financial blessing that enables me to give more than I've ever given and bring generous gifts to all my loved ones, or donate more than I've ever donated before. I could go on a hike and see a moose or a bear or some deer or some foxes, or just like, I love animals. So I write down these quantum possibilities of things, and I've talked about this on other episodes, but I want to keep talking about it because it's been creating profound shifts in my life and a lot of people I've shared it with. So you write down just a whole list of things that could go right, and you could do a timeline on things that could go right this week or this month, or you could do no timeline because time doesn't really exist in the first place, and you could just, write down a whole list of things that could be awesome in your life. Potential realities. Because like I said, we're working with the same infinite power that creates universes, and that anything's possible. And what we're doing is we're not thinking about how these things are going to happen. We're not necessarily thinking about when they're going to happen. We're not thinking about what it's going to take to make these things happen. We're just, hey, these things could happen, and we're not attached to these things happening at all. Radical detachment is one of the most magical superpowers ever. You're just like, these are things that would be nice. It's kind of like the law of attraction technique, the wouldn't it be nice if technique. It's like, wouldn't it be nice if ... You're not saying like, hey, I need these things to happen. Like, a lot of people get into a frantic desperation vibration when they're trying to manifest stuff. They're like, yo, I need, okay, I got rent coming up, and so I need this money, and I'm fucked if I don't get this money. My whole life is going to fall apart if I don't get this money, so I need to manifest. I'm going to manifest this, and okay, I'm manifesting this, and it's like this frantic, desperate way of trying to attract stuff, and it actually repels everything you want. So this quantum possibilities is just like, these things would be cool. My life is great either way. I just made this whole list of things that are already going well, and I'm already just grateful and just stoked on all these things. And since I'm in this frequency of gratitude, it would also be cool if this happened and that happened, and if I got flown out to Thailand, or if I got to speak at this event, or I got to be interviewed on this podcast that I just love. Or I'm not saying that I'm screwed if these things don't happen. I'm just saying these things would be awesome if they did. Just like when I wanted to manifest a trip to Hawaii, I wrote it down in my quantum possibilities notebook of and I just did it a few times. Like, I could potentially end up in Hawaii on vacation. And I'd never been to Hawaii. It seemed far out of reach. It seemed like a place only super rich people go. Or maybe I'll go way later in life when I'm super successful or something. But I wasn't like, I need to go to Hawaii. If I don't get to Hawaii, I'm just screwed and my life's going to fall apart. I wasn't desperate about it. That's why it took me so long to manifest a car. Because I put a car on a pedestal thinking, I really need a car. I really need a car. I need this car. I need this car. it's going to suck if I don't get this car by next month, because then I'm going to have to keep taking the bus and the snow's going to come, and then I'm going to keep inconveniencing all these people that I love because they have to help me out with rides, and or I'm going to keep spending all these hours walking places just to go grocery shopping or just to run a simple errand. And I was basically all focused on the pain of not having a car and how important it was to have a car. And I put it on this pedestal, and that's why it took me so long. When I finally detached and said, you know what? I'm fine with or without a car. It'd be awesome if I had one, but it doesn't really matter, you know? There's buses, there's homies, there's legs, I'll be totally fine. My world's not going to come crashing down if I don't have a car. Once I got on that frequency, boom, it's like I manifested a car within a few days. It was easy. And now it seems like the easiest thing in the world to manifest a car now that I have it. And it's like with Hawaii or New York or some of the cool places that I traveled recently. I had an awesome little trip in Moab and an awesome trip down to Zion National Park. Just by putting in my quantum possibilities notebook, like, hey, it'd be fun to do this. I wasn't attached to when. I didn't think about how. I didn't know how much it was going to cost. I didn't really care how much it was going to cost. I didn't care about the how or the when or whatever. I just cared about the why, because, you know, the why is important. If you've ever read Start With Why by Simon Sinek, you know, that's just such a profound, or if you've just seen his TED Talk, Start With Why. Knowing why you're doing something, the intention behind it, is way more important than knowing how or when or what or who or whatever. Just, if you're trying to build a business, you got to start with why. Why are you doing this? Not how are you going to do this? Why? Why do you really want this? So I connect with the why, but I detach from the how. I detach from the when. And I just write down all these things that potentially could happen that would be cool. That seem like it would make my life even more enjoyable than it already is. It's like, imagine yourself, you're on vacation, you got all sorts of money, you're doing well, you're in the best shape of your life, you're laying on the beach, you're feeling super healthy, and you're like just more grateful than you've ever been, and you're like, you know what? I'd enjoy a cup of coffee right now. That sounds nice. You know, and you just throw it out there. It's like this nice little thing that would make an already enjoyable experience even that much more enjoyable. So every day, write down your affirmations and your gratitude, and then things that are going well, and then things that could go well. You know, I could get paid to travel to my dream destination. I could receive a massive gift. I could give a massive gift. I could check my mail and there's just an unexpected check in there that I wasn't expecting that just enables me to do some awesome things. Or, you know, I could get a surprise visit from one of my favorite people that just show up that I haven't seen in a while, and we have an amazing time together. The less attached you are to things going a certain way, and the more just open you are to like the possibilities of what could be, I'm telling you, there's magic. There's magical power in that. Because that's really how the universe works. It's just like there's infinite realities, infinite parallel realities, and you could tap into any of them any second. You're only just you're a frequency away. You're a feeling away. And, you know, you're not attached because you're enjoying the process of writing it. It's not even about whether these things happen or not. It's about you're living from possibility, and you're just enjoying writing them. As you're writing down these quantum possibilities, you're in a good mood. You're feeling the emotions of like, oh, look at all these awesome things that my life is already amazing. I'm already on this winning streak, but damn, there's all these other things that could happen too, and like I don't need them to happen because I'm already fucking loving my life. But hey, just to even imagine that any of these things could be possible, and to know that they're possible is pretty cool, and it feels great. So you're enjoying the process. It's all about falling in love with the journey. It's not about, you know, like if you could take a helicopter to the top of a mountain and see the views, but are you going to really appreciate the view as much as you would if you hiked the whole way there, if you had to work to get there? Like, no, I've done both. I've been to places I've been to really cool waterfalls that you could just drive up to. Like one of the coolest waterfalls in Utah that I know of is like I've never really enjoyed it that much because you can just literally drive your car to it and you have the dopest view the second you step out of your car. But then there's some other waterfalls that are like really hard to get to that are not even like near as sick, but you get to them and like you're just like in heaven, heaven on earth. You're just blissed out because you just trekked like 3 miles up a super steep hill through all this rocks and jungle and bushwhacking, and you had to put in some work to get there. And when you get there, you get to rest and chill and enjoy this waterfall, and you feel like you earned something. It's kind of like when I've created financial prosperity in my life through things that I created. Like I've been given $1,000 before. One time, I'm trying to remember where it was from. Oh, I inherited $1,000. It's the most I've ever been given, most I've ever been inherited or anything. When my grandpa died, I inherited $1,000, and I was so grateful for it. But I didn't appreciate it as much as when I got paid $1,000. The first time I got paid $1,000 for my music, for just performing a 30-minute set with Anderson .Paak and Big Boy from Outkast. I remember just feeling so fulfilled because I manifested it, I attracted it, I created it, I worked for it. I had been paying dues and grinding for years. I had been, getting in alignment, following my bliss. I've been helping lots of people. I've been networking and building the right relationships. And so when I got that, it felt like I just appreciated it so much because I had earned it. It wasn't just handed to me. And I'm not saying that like getting a handout's bad. We all deserve easy blessings and awesome gifts and things that just flow to us for no reason, just because we're us. But there's something about working for something, you know what I mean? Like I haven't really drank alcohol in years. I've had like a sip or two here and there, but I haven't been drunk in like 5 years. But I remember when, drinking a beer after like a long day of work, or after, especially if you're like doing some physical labor in the hot sun, that was the only time I really enjoyed it. If I was like living like shit and just not doing any of my good habits and not working, not providing value, not doing the things that I felt like were my highest self, I would have a beer and instantly like my vibration goes down, instantly feel lower, instantly feel like I'm throwing my life away, and it just wasn't enjoyable. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't enjoy it as much. Or like with like smoking cannabis, like you wake up and you smoke some cannabis because you're stressed out and you're running away from your problems and you just want to numb this emotion that you're feeling, and you don't want to feel the way you're feeling, so you're just going to blaze one to immediately change your state. That sometimes can be medicine, but a lot of times it doesn't feel good. But when you just crushed it, when you just owned your day and you've been crushing it all week, Monday morning you got up, you jumped out of bed and you made your bed, which is super important, right? Always make your bed the second you get up. So, there's a lot of science on that and a lot of profound benefits to just, and it's nice to come back to a nice clean made bed, even if your whole day kind of went to shit. Like you come back to this one part of your life that's put together. But it's a habit of high achievers, and a lot of successful people are in the habit of making their bed first thing, and it's like you're just starting your day off on the right foot when you do that. But anyway, you start, Monday morning, you jump out of bed, you made your bed, you fasted, you worked, you crushed your workout, you didn't half-ass it, you just like really, you were really present and focused, you were just really good with all your good habits and routines, and all week you were just crushing it, doing the best, living in your highest self, living on a high vibration, being impeccable with your word, doing your very best, doing just being your best self. And then Friday night, you unwind and you chill and you go out to dinner and you blaze one down and watch a movie. That is so much more enjoyable than just waking up Monday morning and pigging out on some food, watching Netflix and blazing one down. It's just you enjoy stuff so much more when you worked for it, and I kind of even, that was like a whole side, I kind of got sidetracked on that whole thing. But anyway, my whole point before I went on that complete tangent is that it's all about falling in love with the journey. So when you're writing these quantum possibilities, you're in love with the journey. You enjoy the process of writing these. You're not needing these things to happen. It feels good to write about them. It feels good to live from possibility rather than living from circumstance. Because most of us live from circumstance. We think the best thing that could possibly happen in our life is a recreation of the best thing that has happened in the past, or maybe something slightly better than where we currently at. Like, if we're making $100,000 a year, then we think, maybe we'll make $115,000 this year, or $120,000. Like, we don't think I'm gonna make $100 million this year. Like, you don't think you can make these quantum jumps because we're living from circumstance based on what currently is and what has been. So you gotta check that out and ask yourself every moment: are you playing from circumstance or are you playing from possibility? When you're creating a business, when you're working on anything, are you doing it based on what's possible or based on what has already happened in the past? You know what I'm saying? And I really love Abraham Hicks when she says, or when Esther said, I don't know if Abraham is a boy or a girl. I guess Abraham is just a spirit that's both. I guess we're all both. Gender doesn't really exist. It's just we might have been, manifesting in a male body or a female body, but we're all both genders as spirits, so that doesn't even really matter. But anyway, I like it when Abraham says, stop telling it like it is and start telling it like you want it to be. Speak your life into existence. People are always like, I'm just telling it like it is. I'm just calling it how I see it. Stop calling it how you see it and call it how you want to see it. Stop telling it like it is and tell it like you want it to be. Your life really can change in a moment. Like a lot of musicians talk about, you're only one song away from a completely different life. Any musician could write a song today or tomorrow that just blows up. Just goes viral, people love it, your whole life has changed, you get a record deal, you start touring the world, things could happen, Just because you haven't ever written that song yet doesn't mean it's not possible. Just because all the songs you've written in the past only got 100 plays or something doesn't mean you couldn't write one later tonight that just blows up, Just because you've never traveled out of the state before doesn't mean someone could just offer you a dream, Someone couldn't offer you a dream vacation tomorrow. Someone literally could come ring your doorbell right when you get done listening to this podcast and say, hey, here's 10 grand for no reason. I'm just out here spreading love. Like, people do shit like that. There's infinite possibilities, and I'm just trying to use some kind of crazy examples to show you what's possible. Like, people really do receive miracles and blessings and magic. All that stuff is real. You just have to be on the frequency of it, because you're not going to attract what you want. You're going to attract what you are. So if you're on the vibration of feeling blessed, of feeling like you're in the flow, feeling like you're in the magic, of feeling like anything's possible, you're opening up the doors. You're opening up the floodgates for the universe to bring all this magic and possibility to you. If you're only fixated on what is, and you're only telling it like it is and calling it how you see it, then your circumstances are just going to keep repeating themselves. When we're playing from circumstance, our circumstances repeat. When we're playing from possibility, then magic happens. So we got to look at our habits and ask ourselves, and our whole mood and our emotional state. Like, when I say habits, I don't just mean like smoking cigarettes or what kind of food you eat or things like that. Like, those are habits too. Those are external habits more, but like the internal emotional habits, most people don't realize we're addicted to these brain chemicals. We're addicted to certain dopamine rushes that we get from certain types of emotional feelings and certain types of behaviors. So ask yourself, are my emotional habits causing me to evolve or revolve? Is the way that I'm thinking causing me to evolve or revolve? Are the foods that I'm putting in my body causing me to evolve or revolve? or devolve even, Obviously, evolving is you're growing, revolving is you're stagnating, and devolving is you're going backwards and you're hurting yourself and you're going down a bad path. So all of your ways of thinking and ways of being are causing you to do one of the three. So you check in with yourself. Maybe set an alarm on your phone every hour. Am I evolving or revolving or devolving? In fact, I might do that on my phone. I used to have a lot of alarms go off every hour that just helped me check in with my frequency and keep me on the right vibe. And, if your alarm goes off at 11:11 and says, like, what was your frequency right now? What are you attracting? You have a chance to check in with yourself and say, oh, shit. Actually, I have been focused on the wrong thing for the last 20 minutes, but it's never too late to flip a U-turn. It's never too late to turn things around and switch your frequency. It's just a thought away. Just a feeling away, just a little quick yoga session away, just a quick little 5 minutes of breath work away, just a quick cold shower away. You can change your state really quickly. You can switch your frequency. So I keep catching myself. I have been lately, the thing that I've been mastering the most is just catching my ego when it wants to worry, when it wants to judge, when it wants to compare, when it wants to be fearful. I catch myself going down, and I used to not catch myself until probably way back in the day. I'd be on a train for a few weeks, and then it got down to like a few days. Then it might have been a few hours, and now it's like a few minutes, few seconds. I catch myself thinking the wrong thoughts or, activating a vibration that's creating a reality I don't want. And I just catch myself, and I don't judge myself or beat myself up for it. I go, whoops. That's totally the ego doing its thing. All right, switch your vibe up. And then, I immediately shift my thoughts. I shift my focus, because where your focus goes, energy flows. Energy flows where your attention goes. And whatever you're focusing on is where your power is. Your focus really is your superpower. That's pretty much the only thing that you really have control over in this life. You can't control the external world. I can't control whether, like lightning strikes my house and burns it down and loses all my stuff or not. I can't control if, all sorts of crazy things could happen outside of me. So the one thing that I can control is where my focus goes. What am I thinking about and bringing about? What am I putting all my attention towards? Because that's what I'm going to see more of. So if I just catch myself really quickly now, your focus is in the wrong area. Boom, shift it real quick. It's getting easier and easier the more I catch myself. And that's really why meditation and mindfulness practices are so important, because they teach you about yourself. You get to know yourself. You get to monitor and observe your thoughts. A lot of people think meditation's like sitting there in some uncomfortable ass pose and perfect posture and having no thoughts. Like, if you think that's what meditation is, then no wonder you can't meditate. Like, I don't know anyone that can really do that. Maybe some monks or something, but even they will tell you that's not what it's about. More about getting to know your way of thinking and getting to observe your own thoughts and your own behaviors and being the observer of stuff and detaching from the idea that you are your thoughts, because you're not your thoughts. Your thoughts are they're just like clouds in the sky. Your mind is maybe like the clear sky, and your thoughts are just these clouds that come and go. But we get all consumed in thinking that our thoughts are us, and that's a whole nother podcast episode. But we can just observe them and get to know ourselves, and then the more we get to know ourselves and the more we become cognitively aware of our thinking, and it's like our own consciousness separate from our thoughts, observing our thoughts, seeing which thoughts are creating realities we like and which ones are creating realities we don't like, and then we can just catch them quicker, and then we can shift them quicker. So that's really like the main benefits that I get from meditation, besides like all the physical healing and mental and emotional healing and stuff too is really important. But like, it just helps me become aware of what I'm actually thinking. It's like I would be thinking negative, and I'd be on the surface, I think I'm thinking positive, but deeper down I have this negative dialogue playing out. So meditation and mindfulness practice have helped me catch that stuff quicker. But yeah, we just got to fall in love with the journey, because that's really the magic of life. Fall in love with the journey and the possibility of what could be, because anything is possible. We're so much more powerful than we could ever realize. And like, we can be, do, and have anything in this world. There's nothing that we can't go create for ourselves and for our loved ones. So, like, let's own that power and let's play from possibility rather than playing from circumstance, and rather than just evolving. And, it's, if we're going to do the same habits that we've always done, then our life's just going to keep repeating itself. So when I don't like my life, I start to just change up my way of being. When things feel like they're stagnating or they're revolving or devolving, I shift up some things. Okay, obviously, like the things that if I've done the same thing, relatively like about the same thing every day for the last 90 days in a row, and my life is looking like this, then, and I don't like that, and I want my life to look different, then I'm going to have to change some of those behaviors and some of those thoughts and some of those beliefs. And so I can evolve instead of revolve or devolve. So, I don't know. You guys get my point. I'm not trying to... I have a habit of just rambling on the same thing like over and over again because I really want you to understand and know. I don't want you to intellectually understand these things. I want you to know these things, which is why I give multiple examples and kind of reiterate my points over and over again, because it's just like repetition is the mother of learning. And the more we hear these things, and not just from me, you hear these things from all sorts of successful people. If you listen to a lot of spiritual or self-development podcasts and read a lot of books, like most of what I talk about's not super new to you, but hearing it from another perspective, hearing yet another example of the same principle, just helps rewire it and embed it, and so you can embody it and really be it. Because it's one thing to intellectually understand something, it's a whole nother thing to embody it and to really know it in the core of your being. Like one of my mentors, Jim Fortin, talks about like a broken arm. He's never had a broken bone. He's like, I can understand what a broken arm is, but I don't know what a broken arm is. I can understand what it feels like. It feels like, it seems like it would suck and hurt really bad, but unless you've had a broken arm, you don't really know it. You don't fully know it. So that's why I like to repeat myself and talk and give you guys these reminders on this podcast. So I'm going to wrap up today's episode here in just a sec, but I want you to commit to yourself that you're going to get yourself a journal, you're going to get yourself a nice pen, and you're going to commit yourself to this practice. And you don't need to make it like a chore. If it doesn't feel good, then don't do it. If it feels like really strenuous and painful and you're not in the right vibration, then do something else. But because the whole point of it is to be feeling a positive emotion when you're doing it, and then you carry that positive emotion with you throughout the rest of your day, and you act from that positive emotion. If I write down on my quantum possibilities notebook, hey, I might sell more beats than I've ever sold this week. When I'm going to create the beats, I'm just loving making the beats, and I'm not attached to whether they sell or not. But I am playing more from a positive emotion of like, hey, I wrote down in my notebook that I could have like the biggest week of beat sales yet. So like I'm playing from this possibility, and it carries like a little bit more of an exciting frequency. But it's just magic what I've manifested. You know what I mean? I've gotten to perform with all of my idols. I've gotten to travel around the world. I've performed in like damn near every state. I've gotten to do some remarkable things. People that I just look up to so much in high school that I was listening to are my homies and my peers now. I can make music with them. I can go on tour with them. And now, like, my life is just getting more and more blessed the more I live from possibility, rather than... Because I used to just think, only certain things were possible based on, like, the city I lived in and, the people that I knew and how things had been in the past and what kind of family I was from and whatever. And the internet kind of helped shatter a lot of that, because I'm just like, all right, dude, anything's possible for anyone now. Anyone that has an internet connection could literally, become like a billionaire and help millions of people and create the life of their dreams just using this little device, just from clicking different buttons, and that's wild. So I'm living from possibility now, and it's magical. Anything is possible. And I could just give you story after story after story of things that have happened from writing them in my quantum possibility notebook. And then sometimes you even forget about them. You have fun writing them down, and then you go live your life, and it kind of elevates your state, and it starts your day off in just such a good mood, and you're focused on what could be rather than like the things that are going wrong. And you're just living your life, you forget about them, and then all of a sudden things happen, and you're like, holy shit, I wrote that in my journal, and now it just happened. Like, I wrote down in my quantum possibilities notebook that I'd love to go to New York City because I'd never been there. And when I wrote it down, I was picturing like, oh, it's maybe in the next 5 years or something, I'll go there. But I didn't think about how or how much it cost. I didn't look up plane tickets. I didn't look up anything like that. And like, no joke, like a month later, my aunt hits me up and she's like, hey, I'm doing my book release party in Manhattan. Or no, it was in Brooklyn actually. And I would love for you to come perform. And I was like, what? That's crazy. I just barely wrote down in my quantum notebook that I wanted to go to New York City, and now here's an opportunity to go there. And if I remember correctly, she like had some budget with some money that she got given for her book release and all this stuff, and she was like, she happened to look it up, and she was like, whoa, plane tickets are like cheaper than I've ever seen them, which is super weird for it being like a last minute flight. She's like, it's never this cheap. I'm just going to buy you a plane ticket right now. So she ended up buying me a plane ticket. I had a place to stay, all this stuff. It was awesome. I performed in Brooklyn for my first time. I made a bunch of new fans. I had a great time exploring the city. It was one of the best trips of my life. And then on the way there, I'd also written in my quantum possibilities notebook that I would wanted to go to the ocean soon. And so I was stoked on New York, but I was still like, I really wanted to go to Cali or just somewhere with a beach. And I just love California. I've been obsessed with it since I was a little kid. It's my happy place. And turns out I get on the flight to go to New York. And I also, in my quantum possibilities notebook, I had written that I wanted an Amazon gift card, like a large Amazon gift card, because I wanted to, there was a bunch of physical material things that I really wanted and gifts that I wanted to give, and I thought, it'd be cool if I received a big Amazon gift card and I was able to just buy a bunch of these things, because if I just have the actual cash or money, I'll probably just like end up paying it towards bills and stuff. But if I have a gift card, I'll actually gift myself and my loved ones these material things that I desire. And so, long story short, I'm in the airport heading to New York. There's this lady crying because she's like not going to get on the flight, and she was on standby, and she like really needed to get to New York, and she needed to get there for her kids or for some reason, and she was pretty distraught. And I heard the flight attendant say, I just happened to like walk past as the flight attendant, like, well, you can talk to someone, and if someone wants to give up their flight, like we could maybe get you in their seat and like hook them up with a later flight and like a travel voucher or something. So I decide, I just feel this intuitive nudge. I don't need to be in New York at a certain time. The show's not for a couple days. I don't really need to get there today necessarily. So this lady really needs to get there today, and I'm gonna give up my seat. So I just gave up my seat, not necessarily knowing what would happen, but I knew that they would probably give me some type of travel voucher or something, because I had experienced, like, anytime the airline I have this, like, beautiful frequency and this paradigm mindset on travel that anytime my travel is inconvenienced from someone else, like, not from my own, if I'm late or something like that, that's my bad, but if the airline messes anything up, they're going to hook me up and make it worth my while, and I'm going to end up getting blessed, because I've had that happen a few times. So, and I just heard stories like that, and I just chose to have that be in my belief system. So I just knew giving up my seat is going to bless me somehow. They're probably going to give me a travel voucher, and I'm going to get to fly somewhere else, like, down in a few months. I'll probably, get a substantial travel voucher. So I gave up my seat. This lady was so grateful, so stoked. And then the travel personnel was like, okay, so we're going to book you this later flight. Only thing is, like, you'll still get to New York tonight. You're just going to get there, like, you're gonna get there like super late, basically. But you're gonna have to go to LA first, and the only thing is there's gonna be like a 4 or 5 hour layover in LA. And I was like, okay, I'm totally fine with that. I love LA. LAX has my favorite smoothie place. It's called Earth Bar, and they just make the most delicious superfood smoothies on earth. And I was like, you know what? I'll go to LA and chill in the airport for a little bit and get myself a superfood smoothie, and this is awesome. So they give me a flight to LA. They give me a $15 food voucher, which is more than I needed for the superfood smoothie. That was only good for it was good for any of the food places in the airport. So here you can buy yourself some lunch or something, basically, since you have this layover now. Because originally I would have had a direct flight to New York and been there a lot sooner and whatever. But I get to go to LA, and it just is the most blessing thing ever. I get to, right when I get there, basically they tell me my layover is even longer than I expected. I said, sick. Now I got time to go to the beach. So I Uber to the beach with my superfood smoothie. It's beautiful, divine weather in LA. I'm feeling the Cali vibes, you know what I mean? I was about to go to cold ass, snowy New York, but instead I'm in like 75-degree weather and sunshine, SoCal, soaking up the vibes. I Uber to the beach. I chill and meditate on the beach for a couple hours, swim in the ocean, make some music on the beach, and then I Uber to a weed shop, pick myself up some herb, because it's totally legal to fly out of Cali with herb, and it was just like and I knew I probably wanted some herb when I got to New York, but I was like, I'll have to find some when I get there, and I don't really know a whole lot of people in New York, so it might have been like a sticky situation, and I knew it was probably going to be a lot lesser quality and not as cheap as Cali, so I Ubered to there, and like they're having some sale, so I get like a buy one get one free on some nugs, and I'm just blissed out. Like, look how baller I am right now. Like, I just fucking flew to LA, superfood smoothie, took an Uber to the beach, swam in the ocean. Now I'm Ubering to a weed shop. And turns out there was a beach and a weed shop all within like 5 or 10 minutes of the airport. So I didn't even have to spend very much on Uber at all. And like, then they give me, oh, and I forgot to mention this part. They give me a travel voucher. But they say instead of a travel voucher, you could also have a gift card. You can choose Amazon or such and such. I get a $600 Amazon gift card, which enables me to buy some of the stuff that I had wanted. And, you know, one of the things was like a bed for my daughter, because like she was sleeping on this old small bed, and I just like really wanted to get her a new bed, but I didn't really feel like I had the funds for it. And I was able to get this travel voucher, and it's all because I was on this frequency of like quantum possibilities of like anything's possible, and I was feeling grateful. I was just like, I'm so grateful to even exist, be in an airport, going to New York. I don't care if I have to I didn't think of it as like an inconvenience at all. All I could see was blessings in the whole situation. And then the universe just blessed me. It ended up being one of the dopest trips of my life. Like, I got to go to Cali and New York all within the same week, all for free, and get a $600 Amazon gift card. And then when I get to New York, I just had the most blessed experience in New York, like everything that could go right, and I had no expectations. I think that was part of the magic, is I said, I'm going to go to New York to be there for my aunt because she wants me there, and I didn't know if I was going to have food to eat. Like, I didn't even have any money. I didn't know if I was going to have food to eat. I didn't know if I was going to like New York. I didn't know if it was going to be cold and snowy. I didn't know anything. Turns out it's perfect weather. I get to go to LA, get all these blessings. I get like, my grandma takes me out to like this amazing food place. So I got like a free meal, like, and takes me on, I get to go on top of the Rockefeller building, which has like the dopest views in New York. I'm just traveling around New York, taking the subway everywhere, bumping my hip hop music, writing music. living with no expectations, no attachments, just nothing but possibilities and wonder and love in my heart, and just exploring just whatever's going to happen. Like, I was totally ready for it to be like the worst trip of my life, and I just like, I'm just going to go. It didn't logically make sense to go. I had all these bills to pay, I had all these things to handle. I had all these things that I wanted to create in my life, and it just didn't seem logical, but something in my heart felt right, and I went, and I just got blessed. And I swear it's because I wrote down a lot of these things in my quantum possibilities notebook, but then I wasn't attached to them. I was just in the flow state of just appreciating every moment. I was so present, enjoying my life. And I swear, like, I have like I have more than a dozen other stories that are very similar to this, where like I had no expectations or attachments, and like everything that could go right went right, and I just got blessed way further than I ever expected. Like, but when I'm like trying to control things and make them go my way, and like I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna use my masculine energy, and I'm gonna make this happen. It never goes my way. I end up blocking my blessings. But when I'm just like in the flow, in the freedom, and just like, hey, I'm just grateful to be alive along for this journey, universe gives me everything and then some. So get yourself a quantum possibilities journal. Get yourself a pen that you enjoy writing with, and go to town. Have fun. Just enjoy it. Don't be attached to it. Just make it a fun little process. And like I said, you're enjoying the journey. Like, for me, when I make songs, I'm enjoying the process of making the song. I'm not attached to any outcome of how many listens I get, or how many dollars I make, or how many compliments I get. None of that even crosses my mind. I'm just enjoying the process of making the song. And the more I'm in love with the process, the better the outcome ends up being. So I'm grateful that I'm able to share that with you. I know I've talked about a lot of this stuff, similar stuff before, but it's just so helpful, and it's so profound to remember that we can be, do, and have anything. We can play from possibilities rather than circumstances. And, we got to just continue to ask ourselves, like, is my current way of being causing me to evolve, revolve, or devolve? So that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Go create an amazing rest of your day. Go have an amazing, amazing rest of your week. Go get that journal, start practicing it every day. Do something new. If you want to see something you've never seen, you got to go somewhere you've never been. You got to do something you've never done before. So try some new habits. Try a new form of self-love and self-care. A lot of you messaged me from last week's episode telling me something that you were going to do to take care of yourself more. Someone mentioned they got a grounding mat. They were going to start, or they had a grounding mat for a while, and they're going to actually start using it. So I hope you've actually been using it and grounding yourself. If not, getting the bare feet outside, that's even better. One of you said you're in a book of massage, so I hope you went and did that. But yeah, just commit yourself. Every episode, I want to try to give you at least one action step. So today's action step is to get yourself that journal, get yourself a pen, title it Quantum Possibilities, or your quantum notebook, or, something that sounds cool, feels cool to you, and have fun with it. Make it part of your morning routine as you're sipping your rasa, as you're sipping a little cold brew or whatever you like to drink in the morning, and make it fun. Enjoy the journey and just see what happens. And then I'm excited to hear about what magical things come into your life when you just really start tapping into what's possible for you. Because, like I said at the beginning of this episode, we're working with the infinite power of the universe. And if that power can create universes and worlds and a sun and moon that are perfectly distanced from the earth, so it doesn't, I'm not a scientist, but I've heard that if the sun was like a centimeter further than it is, we'd all like freeze to death. And if it was like a centimeter closer, we'd all like burn to death and life wouldn't exist. So like, if the universe can do all this stuff perfectly, just magically, then, you can manifest a dream vacation or a new house or a car, or performing with your idols, or whatever, is in it to you, or speaking gigs, like, all of us have big dreams, and we got to realize how possible it is. Like, your life can literally change in a day. remarkable things can happen as soon as you open yourself to that frequency. So I love you so, so, so much. Thank you again to all my Patreon supporters, the Gratitude Gang, holding me down, spreading the love. We're helping a lot of people. I'm getting messages every single day of people telling me this podcast and the music and the YouTube and all the stuff that I do is helping them build better habits, helping them love themselves more, helping them tap into a whole new quality of life. So I'm going to keep spreading these vibes every week. And I love it when you guys shoot me messages and comments, letting me know you listen, especially if you listen this far into the episode. You're the real one. You're the dopest. You're the freshest. You're the illest. I love you so much. You're a beautiful, divine being. And I really look forward to connecting with a lot of y'all in person, whether at my shows or some of the live events and retreats that I got coming up. I appreciate you guys so much. And I'm just always sending you the best vibes, always rooting for your success, always holding space for you to just live an even better life than you're already living. It's a blessed day. Go enjoy the rest of it, and I'll see you soon on another episode. Peace and blessings.